Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Refugee Welcome Collective Lunch and Learn series. In these sessions, we aim to bring interesting and timely information to you, supporters of refugees. Whether you're a volunteer, community sponsor, resettlement agency staff, a local advocate, or just someone who's interested in learning more, we hope that you enjoy today's session, Introduction to the Refugee Welcome Collective website, www.refugeewelcome.org. Go ahead to the next slide, please. The Refugee Welcome Collective collaborates with partners to provide in-depth training programs, weekly learning sessions, resources, and on-demand technical assistance for sponsors, practitioners at resettlement agencies, refugees paired with sponsors, community and institutional partners, and others to support quality community sponsorship programs across the United States. As a reminder for everyone joining the call today, there's a control panel in your upper right-hand corner that will allow you to submit questions through the questions box. Please do it through the questions box and not the chat. There will be ample time at the end of the webinar for Q&A. Everyone on today's webinar is automatically muted. However, if you have any tech issues, please raise your hand through the control panel or submit a question in the questions box so that we can assist you. Additionally, the presentation, any resources, and a recording will be sent to everyone following today's webinar. This brings us to our presenters for today. Go ahead to the next slide, thank you. Our presenters are our team at Refugee Welcome Collective, which consists of Brianne Casey. She is the Community Sponsorship, Technical Assistance, Resource and Learning Manager. Jessica Ashcraft, a Senior Community Sponsorship, Technical Assistance Associate, and myself with the same title. Jessica Chapman is our Director, and she's unable to make this presentation today. And Grace Cunningham is behind the scenes. She's going to be doing the behind the scenes, changing up the slides and things like that. Go ahead, Grace. Let's go to the website. Awesome. So this is the new Refugee Welcome Collective website at refugeewelcome.org. We want to kind of walk through how to utilize the site, how to utilize its features. We'll talk a little bit about who we are, and we'll answer any questions as we go through. Please feel free to include any questions in the questions tab. If there aren't any, that's fine. We'll just kind of keep going and show you kind of a little bit more in-depth stuff. Grace, if you could scroll down a little bit. In my introduction to this Lunch and Learn, I've already sort of explained a bit about who the Refugee Welcome Collective is, but we'll touch on that for just a second when we go to the About page. But I just wanted you all to see the main page and kind of scrolling down, what kinds of things you can click on, explore. Sorry, can you scroll up for just a second? Just wanted to show, yeah, I want you all to see the top, and then the explore training programs and request technical assistance. We'll go into depth here in a minute about that. Go ahead and scroll down. There'll be some featured resources available. We're going to go into that, when we click on that tab for more in-depth understanding of what that looks like. We're really excited to share that. Keep scrolling down. Some other opportunities to engage will always be there. And then at the bottom there, if you can sort of highlight and scroll down just a tad, where it says receive news about upcoming training and support opportunities, I strongly encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to our email so that you can keep up with information as we are able to share it. I also just want to highlight that we are on the social media sort of outlets there. So please feel free to check us out on Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all of those places. Let's scroll up to the top and click the About to the right there. Yeah, thank you. So as sort of mentioned in the intro, I just want to reiterate that the Refugee Welcome Collective, we are a community sponsorship, technical assistance, and training provider, funded by PRM, the Bureau of Population, Refugees, and Migration. And really, we aim to improve outcomes for our refugee clients through community sponsorship and providing that extra support, that community sponsorship programs from all 9 resettlement agencies. It's to provide support to them and all of the volunteers and community sponsorship groups that they work with. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit. This is our team here, and you can scroll down a little bit more and see. Yeah, you can click on any of those to see more information. And our collective members from nearly all 9 refugee resettlement agencies, in addition to some other local resettlement agencies or affiliate offices as well. You can scroll down a little bit more. And these are some additional partners. And you can click on any of those and look at those in more detail. You can go ahead and scroll down a little bit more. And here's again, like resources, opportunities to engage, requesting technical assistance. And we're going to go into more detail about each of those sections. Do just want to point out that there's an opportunity if you yourself are a community sponsorship expert and you would like to get involved in some way, please contact us. This is an opportunity to kind of get connected with our resources and other opportunities and with our partners. If there's anything that we can do to work together, happy to do that. So that's it. We will, I'm gonna pass it over to Brianne, who's gonna talk about our resource library in greater depth.
Yes, thank you, Grace. So I'm gonna share one of the pages on our website with you that I hope that you will visit often and that will make us all better welcomers, and that is our resource library here. So these resources and tools are for everything community sponsorship. So whether you're a community sponsor, community sponsorship staff, whether that's at the local or national level, and also refugees paired with sponsors, we hope that you'll come and use this, the resource library. The resources here represent national best practices and expertise of many in the community sponsorship space. And our goal is to support you in your own locality, in your own context, in however you're plugging into welcoming. And we encourage you to adapt these resources for your use. So while they represent best practices, we're also hoping that all of these are going to be adaptable and usable to you in your area. Let's see. And you can also, as you're joining this webinar, feel free to open the website as well, refugeeswelcome.org. And let's see. So in the resource library here that Grace has us, you'll notice these are all open access, no login required. And currently there are over 40 resources with 29 just generated by the Refugee Welcome Collective for your use. And so a minute on navigating this. So as you can see where Grace is right now, you can navigate it by audience. So we have resources for community sponsors, community sponsorship staff, whether that be at the local or national level. We have resources for refugees paired with sponsors, as well as resources for universities and volunteers. So those are the audiences. And then you can also browse by about 20 different topics or subject matter areas. And those range from the Afghan Placement and Assistance Program to fundraising to housing. You can take a look at those subject matters there. So for example, if you're a community sponsor and interested in benefits for, let's see, your welcoming family from Afghanistan, you could select community sponsor. Thanks, Grace. You've already got that selected. And maybe that APA, Grace, right there. Yeah. Yeah. So for example, and actually, Grace, could you open this up? We'll just take a look at this resource benefits for Afghan evacuees. Once again, open access, so you can just hit download. You don't have to log in. And basically, this is a resource that was compiled with benefits for Afghan evacuees. yeah, so that's an example of a resource and one way to navigate the page. And yeah, hopefully that'll provide some helpful information for you and the Afghan you're welcoming. Let's see. So another thing you could do is, in addition, by searching by audience or subject matter, there's also a search function there. Thanks, Grace. So for example, if you were getting ready to stock the kitchen, for someone, you could type in like food supply list or something like that, Grace. Yeah, let's try that and see. Let's see. So yeah, that's an example. If you wanted to just type something into the search function, and actually, do you want to open this up, Grace? We'll try to tempt some people to go take a look at the food supply list. So yeah, so this is an example, and you can scroll through, Grace, if you want. But let's see. So this is, grocery list for suggested groceries for newcomers from Afghanistan, El Salvador, Burma, Somalia. And like I said, probably lots of your programs already have these in existence, so maybe there's something from this you can add to yours, or maybe you don't have a list like this yet, and you'd be welcome to adopt this one. So that's just an example. Once again, open access. You can download it onto your computer. And if I can tempt you to go back later, we probably won't look at these now, but some examples are like an official guide to making your campus a refuge, fundraising guide for community sponsors. There's a sample memorandum of understanding. But these are just a few things that on your own time, you can go back and search this resource library. And like I said, there's 40 resources in there now, and hopefully more soon to come. Let me see. So hopefully, no matter where you are in the sponsorship space, whether you're a community sponsor or a staff member or a newcomer yourself, hopefully this is just a great place for us all across the country, to supply some resources or grab a tool, to base yours off of, to adapt, or just borrow a best practice or two. So we're looking forward to it. And I believe next Jessica is going to share with us about training.
Yes, thank you, Brianne.
Thank you. Sorry, I just wanted to jump in just for a second before Jessica takes off with training. Just with the resource library, I just wanted to highlight too, for anyone, once you have the time to go through and look through what available resources are there, we are creating new ones and putting them up as they come in. But there's also an opportunity for you to request a specific type of resource. So if there's something that you feel like you really need that isn't there, doesn't appear to be there yet, please reach out to us and we're happy to create something for you.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you, Derek. Grace, if we want to move into training. So another aim besides providing resources is to provide training. We really want to do this kind of at all levels across multiple audiences. So in our trainings tab, that will sort of be reflected. You'll see who the audience is for different trainings. We really want to make sure that we're wide reaching, all individuals who are playing a part in welcoming newcomers. So the first one that is on there that you'll see is an upcoming resource training that will be available publicly August 1st. So we're very excited about that. And that is the community sponsorship baseline training. So Grace, if you want to scroll down just a little bit. There we go. And this was a training that was developed over the course of several months with input from all resettlement agencies and other partners in the community sponsorship world. And we're really excited to be able to provide this to community sponsor groups for agencies to refer interested groups who want to engage in co-sponsorship or other forms of community sponsorship as well to take this training. It is a self-directed, self-learning training that will be online. It'll also be available for your mobile devices. So you can kind of learn at your own pace through micro-learning each day. There's also sections of the training where groups can come together for discussion and sort of learn about one another in the group, learn each other's strengths, and just be the best team possible as they're welcoming their newcomer to their community. So that will be available, like I said, publicly August the 1st. But if you want updates on that, including opportunities for train the trainer sessions, if you work at a local agency staff, and you would like to learn how to use the training, how best to use the training with your groups, I really encourage you to subscribe to our newsletter. All announcements about the Train the Trainer sessions and when it will go live will go through that newsletter, and you can see that subscribe button there. So the audience here you can see is certainly community sponsorship groups. And just like with resources, if you look to the left, you are able to select which audience you are, which category you fit in, and is there a training for you there. So right now, the trainings that are on there are mostly upcoming, and we'll kind of talk about a few. There are not as many live ones on there, but in the future, depending on which group you belong to, you'll be able to select from the tab on the left, and it will pull up the available trainings for your audience. So Grace, if we can go back to the main page, go click. Back to the main training page, sorry. And just be able to scroll down past the baseline training. Awesome, thank you. So here you'll see some other featured trainings. These will rotate depending on what's being most requested or maybe what's the newest training that was developed. You'll note one of the trainings that are in development, that middle one. Here the audience is community sponsorship staff at agencies, could be at the local level or the national level, especially for groups and agencies that are starting new community sponsorship programs or maybe revamping existing ones. We hope to develop a comprehensive training and are working now to do so on sort of the how-to or key considerations when you're setting up that program. And so that training will live here on that training page. In addition to trainings that we put out across multiple audiences, we really want to highlight the wonderful trainings that are provided by some of our partners. You'll see one of those here, which is through Every Campus a Refuge on the right. So you'll be able to be directed to register for their training. And in the future, as our wonderful partners develop more and more trainings like this, we will feature them here. We really want, as Brianne emphasized earlier, this to be open access and easy pathways to the best practices that are available, and that includes linking to trainings that our partners have done. Similar to the resource library, if you don't see a training there as we're still developing and you want us to help you develop a training, we would love to do that, and that can be for a bigger topic, like definitely setting up a community sponsorship program is a big topic, but maybe you're a part of a community sponsor group and you really feel like we need kind of a group training on something like cultural humility or something along those lines. We would love to partner with you to do that and provide that with your group, for your group. So similar to the resource library, you can contact us. You can also email that info@email that was on the other page and in many locations on this website, and reach out and we can help you to develop those trainings as needed. So that is all for me. I'm going to kick it to Derek, speaking of requesting topics, to talk about another really big cornerstone piece of our services, which is our technical assistance program.
Thank you. So as you can see, one of the other tabs to click is technical assistance. So what is technical assistance? Technical assistance is essentially an opportunity to connect one-on-one or as a group or as an agency to speak with experts in the field with knowledge and experience to offer basically any tailored support that you may need, whether it's a specific topic, something like, how do you navigate applying for SNAP benefits and Medicaid in a particular state. Okay, we can do some research with you, figure that out for you. Each state's a little different, but we have some template stuff to do, but we can also kind of follow up and do research to make sure that you have that information. This technical assistance can be one-off. Hey, we just would like to speak with someone, and we'd like to have a Zoom meeting and discuss some ideas. We'd love to brainstorm with you. Wonderful, that's great. Both as community sponsorship staff from any of the refugee resettlement agencies around the country, or community sponsors themselves, individual volunteers. Happy to set that up. It can be a one-off experience. It can be a regular weekly meeting where you are in the midst of setting up a new community sponsorship program, or you're revamping what you've been doing, and you want to really think through ideas about, what am I not thinking about? How have other people dealt with this particular issue that's coming up? It's an opportunity to really focus staff to be able to work through those things. There are some listed sort of examples: navigating group and group resettlement agency and group and family dynamics, designing or using program policies, agreements, forms, understanding best practices related to confidentiality, boundaries, power dynamics, monitoring and evaluating community sponsorship programs, building understanding between case managers and community sponsorship groups or community sponsorship staff, community sponsor program design and management, understanding core services and applications of processes for benefit programs, things like that. There are an infinite number of possible things that you can work with. And we are in active collaboration with all 9 refugee resettlement agencies. If there is a question about what your refugee resettlement agency policy is on something, we always will check with our connections at all 9 resettlement agencies to confirm that we're giving you accurate information that you need. We've had those staff members at resettlement agencies recommend that new programs or programs that are in the midst of sort of revamping to reach out to us to get something started like that. We offer to the local affiliate staff, perhaps maybe they have a number of groups, and that number of groups are in different places, and they're limited on their own time to be able to answer all of the questions. They've kind of talked about the big issues, but they notice that this group really would benefit from some additional support. They can encourage them to reach out, or they can reach out to us on their behalf to set up appointments. Again, as just a one-off, let's have a conversation. If there's a specific topic that you want to discuss, we can dive into that specific topic, or it can be sort of a weekly check-in of, here's what's going well, here's what we're frustrated with. Help us think through how to come up, and address the issues that are coming up, and to plan sort of long-term going forward. Let's scroll down just a little bit. There is a form on the website, so someone can fill that out directly. It goes to our email, and so it gives us a little bit of information about who you are and what perhaps is the sort of topic that you're most interested in. Someone will, and then what's the best way to contact you? Someone will contact you shortly, and then we'll go from there. And it really can be a personalized experience for whatever works best for you. We'll find a way to make it work. We're really excited about this work. This, just honestly, for me, this is some of the most fun kind of part of my job, of all the stuff that we get to do, just kind of working with community sponsorship staff and community sponsorship groups to really work with them one-on-one to address any potential issues and to make it a more beneficial and positive experience for you all. That's just kind of some of the fun of it. Is there anything else below that? I'm trying to think if there's. Scroll down a little bit. Just again, another opportunity to reach out to us. But I would say that, just like Brianne and Jessica both talked about with the resource library, if there are specific resources that you would like to be created, let us know. If there's a specific training that you would like for us to create, let us know. And the same, if there's something that you envision in terms of technical assistance, you're wondering, well, does anyone do this where they offer to meet with all the groups in the area once a month and kind of do a check-in with everyone and see where there's an opportunity for everyone to discuss with each other, or something like that. Any other sort of ideas? We really are open to creating something we're a resource for you all to use, and we're looking forward to you all utilizing us as a resource. We'll go ahead on to the next thing if you scroll up. Yeah, click on Engage, please. So this tab offers some specific opportunities for you to engage. Here, you can join our community of sponsors, community sponsorship staff, and refugees paired with sponsors. There are sort of some specific opportunities, and Jessica and I will kind of talk you through what some of those are. So the first one is just this Lunch and Learn series. So you're already here, or you've perhaps been sent a Lunch and Learn previous video or an opportunity to register for a future Lunch and Learn series. But this is where they will be accessible. You can click on past ones, you can sign up and register for future ones. And you can also find past videos of Lunch and Learn sessions through the resource search engine as well. So because there are a number of topics that have been discussed and presenters who are experts in the field, you can go searching through that. Let's scroll down a little bit. These are where some of the past webinars are and have been. You can feel free to click on those or click on the view all past webinars, be able to look at that. And then I will go ahead and pass it on to Jessica here for some roundtables.
Sure, that sounds great. I do want to say also for the Lunch and Learns, I'm sure every time you attend, Derek will send a follow-up email. So if you have topics that you want to request that you think would be really relevant for community sponsored groups, community supporters really in your local community of refugee resettlement, please do suggest those. We're always on the hunt, not only for topics, but also if you know of a group in your community, a specialist in your community who can speak to a topic related to community sponsorship, and that is such a broad topic, of course. Please do recommend speakers as well. If you attended a conference or your local agency hosted a training, you thought, wow, they were such a great speaker, I would love for their voice to be amplified, especially voices of former refugees. Definitely send those names and contact information to Derek. I know he always wants to amplify those voices. So where the audience for the Lunch and Learn is primarily community members, community sponsors like yourselves, we do also have other kinds of ways to engage if you are part of a community sponsorship staff, both at the local level or at the national level as well. We do that primarily through roundtables and workshops that are a lot more discussion based. So you can see that those will live here. You can sign up for those. You can also suggest topics for those as well. You see an upcoming one right there. And again, just like anything else on the site, if you hover over that register link, that will bring you directly to the ability to sign up for that and attend if you are part of a community sponsorship staff at a local or national agency. And then Grace, if you want to scroll down a little bit. And then this is an area that we are really excited to explore what is needed. We always hear from both community sponsor groups. We want to connect with other groups. We want to hear what other experiences are across the country. We hear from staff. We want to connect with each other. So we are working to get input, and we welcome input as far as ideas, ways to connect through communities of practice, to share best practices, to connect each other with resources, et cetera, that would be really beneficial across the country or maybe within a state, a localized resource. So we're working to sort of figure out what's the best way to do that. In this very interconnected world, it almost feels like there's so many connections that they get a little bit lost. So we're trying to figure out what's the best way to do that. So you are welcome, if that's something you're interested in, to sign up here so that when that gets developed, you're one of the first people to find out. You're also welcome, of course, to use that info button if you think, well, I have an idea, we do this in our state or in our community. We would love to hear that, because this is definitely something where we want to meet the existing need to be able to connect, and we want to do it in the best way possible. So feel free to sign up so that you're a part of that, or also suggest if you have been a part of something like that and you have a good idea, this could work. we would love to hear that. And then I will kick it to Brianne, because we've been talking a lot about groups, we've been talking a lot about staff, but really the heart of all of this work, right, is refugees. And so I'm going to kick it to Brianne to talk about the Refugees tab.
Yeah. So looking, thank you, Grace. Looking at the website, up above there is an area there for refugees. So this is a key part of the Refugee Welcome Collective, and a very important part of any welcoming, which is our newcomers, the refugees themselves. So this web page now features, right now, what's on the For Refugees website is a video series of 5 tips for newcomers working with community sponsors. And so we partnered with USA Hello, who interviewed newcomers across the country about their experience working with community sponsors, so their sponsorship experience. And then from that knowledge base, USA Hello created this video series with advice from newcomers about how to work with community sponsors. And we know from asking newcomers that they find most helpful, or they wanted videos in their own language, speaking directly to them, and that's most successful and enjoyable. So these resource library right now are videos with a speaker speaking in Pashto and also Dari, and we encourage you to share these videos with any Pashto or Dari speakers that you know that are working with community sponsors. They also have English subtitling, so I'd encourage any of you, even if you're not a Dari or Pashto speaker, to go ahead and watch those videos, because even though the target audience is newcomers themselves, tips from newcomers for newcomers, they're also very interesting and helpful, I believe, to sponsors themselves and sponsorship staff. And of course, share the videos with any Dari or Pashto speakers that you know. And yes, I look forward to answering any additional information. We'll be adding resources to that page as well in future. And I look forward to answering any questions about those resources later on in the webinar.
Thank you so much, Brianne. Yeah, can you go, click on the RWC app. So we are really excited to very soon be able to introduce and launch and have it available to everyone, an app. It is a community sponsorship app and database. We have just kind of completed the development, and now we are just about to start a very small pilot to be able to get feedback from community sponsorship staff and community sponsor groups who will be using it, and then make some adjustments and changes based on that feedback, and then have it open and available to everyone, to anyone that wants it. So what does it do? What will this app, essentially what it allows us as a community to do is for community sponsored groups to track all of the wonderful welcoming work that they do with the clients that they work with while they're welcoming. So things like setting up an apartment. There is so much work and effort and often, in-kind donations as part of it. People are donating a couch and beds and, forks and knives and everything that makes that apartment or home a real home. And so it allows them to document the work that they've done, to provide a little bit of information, like, 10 volunteers all went to the house on this date. To input the in-kind donated materials, like I just said, perhaps other financial donations, and list that to keep track of, perhaps any mileage that the volunteers did, and then their actual time. So it took them 3 hours to do it. That information sometimes, unfortunately, sort of gets lost. We're not able to tell the real story of all of this work that's being done without a good system in place for tracking this information. This is going to be a user-friendly, workable, easy to use app that not only the community sponsors themselves will be able to input all of that information as they're doing it based on those core services and other wraparound services that they're doing. They'll be able to easily input that information. But then community sponsorship staff will be able to access all of that information. They'll be able to know how many hours were spent by this community sponsored group, how much financial donation was given, or in-kind, what's the value of the in-kind donation that was given, how many miles, how many core services were actually done for the purpose of, defining what a co-sponsor is. We all know that, or some of us in the field right now know that that has sort of changed recently, where there's a defining line of at least 8 core services for RNP clients. If they've been completed, then it's considered a full co-sponsor group. So being able to have access to that information, then not only the community sponsorship staff at the local affiliate office, but then also at the national resettlement agency office as well, where they can pull information about all of their offices and the amount of community sponsorship and what that really looks like, and be able to tell that full story with accessible data. That's what this allows us to do, to tell that overall story, and to document, to make sure that our clients are receiving the care and support that they deserve, and us being able to document that and to show. And so that's really it. Like I said, we're in the process. We are piloting it very soon. It will be accessible. We anticipate that it will be open and available to all community sponsor staff around the country and to the community sponsor groups that they're working with. We anticipate that will be available before October 1st, which is the start of the new fiscal year. So over the next couple of months, we'll be piloting it and getting it ready for use. If you're interested in the app, please reach out to us and we can follow up with you and kind of make sure that you're some of the first to know when it's fully available and how to use it, and getting trained and that kind of thing. So yeah, we appreciate being able to share all of this information to you. Grace, you can scroll up to the top. That really is kind of an overview of our website, and sort of walking you through each one of the tabs and sort of going into greater detail. As Grace also just sort of highlighted, there is a general overall search function there, which you might find really helpful too, just in terms of, okay, yeah, exactly, something like fundraising, you can go and find a resource specific to that. Yeah, that's great. So that's a really handy tool to be able to do. We have a little bit of time, and so if there is anyone here in attendance who has any specific questions, please take a moment. We still have a little bit of time. You can put your questions in the questions tab, and we are happy to answer that. As of this moment, I don't see any questions just yet, which is fine. Please go ahead and do that as we're speaking. I'm going to just kind of throw it out to Jessica and Brianne to think about, how do you see, what do you think most users would find, most useful to them, at least from like your perspective of maybe the client that you work with, and how, what do you think might be sort of the fastest, easiest, best thing that perhaps I kind of think about, sorry, and I'm talking a little bit, but I would just say, I think about, when I was a community sponsorship developer at a local affiliate office, and I think about, what feature of this would be most helpful to me. What do you all think?
Well, I think first off, you should make sure that you're on our email list. So that is, you know, so that you can get connected to some of the upcoming opportunities. So go today and sign up for the email list. Yeah, no, okay, so that's my first tip. And then other than that, I do think you know, like browsing the resource library is really helpful just to know what's there. Like I said, I think we all have some great tools out there, you know, for community sponsorship. But like I said, whether it's like something that you're just going to adopt because, hey, we don't have one and this looks great, and this will save you a day, you know, or adapt, or like I said, you know, even if you have a great library worth of resources and you look at one of the ones in the resource library and, hey, that's the line, you know, or like that's a question that that folks often have, and I could incorporate this in the you know, well-established document that I've been using for 10 years. You know, so kind of yeah, sign up for the email list, and then also familiarize yourself with the resource library. Like I said, right now there's 40 tools in there, but hopefully growing.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, I was going to say, when it comes to that resource library goodness, that would have been helpful to know kind of where to go to grab some really helpful resources. But also, like you said, there is an opportunity if you at a local resettlement office have this really great resource that you created that you're really proud of, and you feel like, man, I would love to share this with other people within your own resettlement agency network, and even outside of your resettlement agency network with other resettlement local affiliate offices around the country. Please share that with us. Please feel free. We really do want this to be kind of a free-flowing opportunity of information going back and forth, and we can always check with the National Resettlement Agency to make sure it's okay and make sure it's respectful of your branding and any copyrights and stuff like that. We absolutely want to make sure that we do that. But yeah, it's an opportunity, I think, to just share your experience and just share what the hard work that you've done with other people. So Jessica, to you, what do you think would be when you were at a local affiliate office? What do you feel like what parts of the website might you have used the most?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the resources are, to me, because the thing we hear the most is I feel like we're always reinventing the wheel, and it doesn't need to be that way. I would stretch that to say I've seen a lot in my work of innovative groups who develop tools, like they're filling out a lot of job applications, so they created a little document that keeps track of everyone's information so that they don't have to keep asking for it every time, etc. Or they're going to apply for benefits and they have to have something where everyone's information is clearly listed out, so they develop something like that. Or they developed a tracker for collecting household goods. And sometimes, groups have these really great things they do, and in the busyness of life, maybe the local agency doesn't get to catch that and capture it and share it out. And I think that would be a really interesting place for us to grow our resource library, is really working to see, are there tools groups have developed, not just agencies at local and national levels, but also the groups themselves. But then I guess without stealing other people's answers, I would definitely say the opportunities to engage. It's getting to hear what people are doing, where they're meeting challenges, and you will find that people are experiencing similar challenges across the board. Sometimes it feels like, gee, we just can't get this one thing together. And sometimes it's nice to know you're just not alone, but it's also really beneficial to hear, oh, this group in Wisconsin, they're doing this, we could try that here. And I think there aren't a lot of spaces to do that across all the agencies, cross state lines. And so signing up for those different opportunities to engage, I really think is a game changer, because there are so many people with both big hearts and big brains out there. And it's really nice to get into spaces where we can share with each other, encourage one another. So I would say that's kind of the next area I would definitely highlight.
Absolutely, that's great, and I'll piggyback what both of you all said, absolutely would have loved to have those available to me. And I'll just also plug that technical assistance, just an opportunity to speak with someone else who has some similar experience, has access to resources, has access to other experts, can do the research with you in collaboration with you to solve any problems that come up. Lots of things just sort of come up, and it would have been nice to be able to have someone who I could just check in with every so often whenever I felt like I needed it, or even if I was doing some specific project, say, hey, I'd love to meet once a week for a month until we get this project off the ground, something like that. Would, to have another set of eyes on it, to have another thinker thinking about it, would have been really helpful. So I get excited being able to offer that to people. That's just something I really look forward to. Okay, and totally fine. We didn't have any questions. We actually didn't anticipate that we'd have a lot or anything like that. We're so happy that some of you were able to be with us today in attendance. I'm gonna kind of read sort of the outro. You can go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Yeah, just wanted to say thank you so much to those in attendance now, and we do anticipate that perhaps more people will end up watching the video, and being able to kind of look at it, and hopefully it will be helpful for them for utilizing our website. So, thanks again to all of our presenters, yay team, and thank you to everyone for attending today's RWC Lunch and Learn. If you have any other questions, please feel free always to contact info@refugeewelcome.org. Once you leave today's webinar, you'll receive a follow-up email with a link to view a recording of today's webinar, as well as descriptions of more upcoming RWC Lunch and Learns. On behalf of Refugee Welcome Collective, thank you for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. Bye.